Good day, loves. Welcome to this moment. Welcome back to episode 99 of the Holistic Freedom Secrets podcast. I am Coach Tensi, and this is.
I'm Coach Soul.
And we are Ufulu Child. Ufulu means freedom. And every day of the work week, we dive into our 5-prong holistic health healing system. Holistic healing system, holistic health.
Nobody heard that.
Freedom 5, be, cleanse, fuel, move, and shine. 5 simple things that we do every day to be in alignment with holistic health, to reach our goals more effortlessly, and to embody that self-love, that next level self-love that helps through any challenge, right? So this is a special episode because we are traveling tomorrow. So today is a combination between move and shine. Yeah. I'm excited to get into the topic for today. Good day, love. Welcome to this moment. Welcome back into the space. Yes, we are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And what's the topic for today?
Today, we are diving into 2 topics. There's a move topic and a shine topic. The move topic is exploring Kemetic yoga, where we're just going to briefly talk about how Coach Tensi got into Kemetic yoga, like why she sought out that type instead of the more popular. I forget the name of the other 2 that are most popular in the United States. Yoga and some tips for beginners. And then the shine topic is building community potentially with my book, Culture Control, because it's a holistic freedom book, but in the realm of the freedom that you have to fight for, not the freedom that you're inherently born with, or a little bit of both, right? So building community via using a book like my own. So let's go ahead and kind of dive right in to the first part where we're going to explore, Kemetic yoga and such.
Yeah, so let me tell you a story. Story time, everyone. This part of my journey where I started to become interested in yoga. It's kind of funny because full disclosure, I grew up avoiding yoga like the plague, and the only people that I ever saw doing yoga were at the senior center or at the Y. My grandma used to invite me to the yoga classes that she would go to, which is amazing that that was happening. Yes, but I was very not interested in high school and junior high. And I think it was because I thought that yoga was just for old people, or that yoga was just for people that didn't look like me. Like I never saw a black person doing yoga, other than my grandma. So, you know, it was it was something that I was just not interested in. I didn't identify as being a yoga person. Just invite me to the dance party. Okay, invite me to the dance party. I would be there. But don't invite me to yoga. Was how it was for a long time until in college there was this yoga class on campus, and it was happening right near the time frame that there would be the Zumba class that I would be hyped to go to, and I popped in once, and I was like, let me just explore. My grandma got me this yoga mat. It's just sitting there. I'm not really using it, but let me try it. And so I went to this class, and at first, I would really, I was just kind of, I was really flexible growing up. So I was trying to kind of low key compete a little bit with who could get into the poses, and I was really flexible. So in my head and in my heart, I was showing off a lot. But then I also noticed that I was receiving some feelings of relaxation, and I was feeling more at peace when I would go home. But one of the things that was a little bit of a conflict for me was that I'd heard maybe um, in the past like that a lot of things eventually came from, like, everyone came from Africa at some point in time, was something that I was taught.
Right. You go back far enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I was like, is there an African yoga? Is there? What did we do in Africa? I got really curious about that, and I went down that rabbit hole in college and came across this thing called Kemetic yoga, which is African yoga, all the way well more than 6,000 years old, um, getting into the tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years old. And the practice of yoga was so all encompassing that it blew me away. It involved more than just moving your body and feeling, flexible in your body or limber in your body, but also the breath circulation, like feeling like I was so closely connected to my spirit. So themes of, if you've ever done different styles of yoga, like Kundalini yoga, where you're circulating your energy throughout the practice. If you've ever done pranayama, which is like the breath work,
Pranayama was the name I was trying to think of. Yeah.
that's like the a component of yoga. If you've ever done like a vinyasa, where you're kind of your 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 breath is leading you in and out of movements, right? You're in a flow. If you've ever done yin yoga, where it's super restorative and you're just kind of like, I could just lay here forever. If you ever done hatha yoga, where it's just like that core strength building, or Bikram yoga, where it's like very strict. You gotta match the pose and do it right. It Kemetic yoga was like the best of all of those worlds, all the styles of yoga that I've come across in my research, and it just brought it all and wrapped it all in one, with beautiful intention. And so I was I became obsessed over Kemetic yoga, and I started to do it in my dorm room. And over the years, as my mom was going through her healing journey, I became more serious about wanting to learn more about Kemetic yoga, to the point of getting certified in Jamaica, um, in Kemetic yoga, and learning some of the healing practices of how food is also supportive, and food is medicine, and learning about holistic nutrition, just the beginnings of it, and learning about uh, energy healing, and I, that led to getting certified in Reiki, and just diving deeply into how different modalities can heal the body, heal the mind, reverse things that are plaguing the body, the mind, the spirit. And yeah, so that was my journey to Kemetic yoga. And every time that I would practice it, I would feel so in alignment with life, with the essence of life, and with what I feel that I'm called here to do. And so being able to bring that to our clients through Kemetic yoga classes in the park that we used to do, or on Facebook, we used to do like virtual Kemetic yoga classes, or in person with my in-person coaching sessions. It's been magical.
It really has. And you had mentioned something about the using the breath to enhance the flow from one pose or posture or one part of this of a sequence to another.
Mm.
And uh, the breath is just really, really interesting when it comes to understanding yourself and understanding spirituality, even because, for instance, if you hold your breath for 2.5, 3 minutes, your digestive system does not stop working. Your heart does not stop beating. Your legs, would not walk. Uh, it, your hands can still open and close a fist. Nothing stops except you start to lose consciousness. Right now, it's not really losing consciousness, but you know what that means. You start to lose a connection to what, from your perspective, makes you a conscious being without the breath. And so you're not just breathing in air, you're also remaining connected to
Like the essence of
the
life.
dynamic, consciousness of life itself.
They say the Holy Spirit is in the breath.
So when the breath is cut off, of course, after a while, the body cannot continue either. But the first thing to go is your connection to the dynamic conscious part of yourself, your individuated self. And that's why, in yogic practices and in spiritual practices in general, being hyper aware of the breath, being hyper aware of how you are breathing, and all of these things come into play the deeper you go, no matter what language it's in, no matter what time period the practice is from. And it just doesn't matter across languages, cultures, and time periods. The breath is the centerpiece for these spiritual practices. And I think it has, something to do with the fact that breathing, again, is the rhythm that connects us to life itself,
Yeah.
or at least our experience of it.
And if anyone's ever practiced Kemetic yoga, like let us know in the comments. Like, what was your experience? What'd you think of it?
Or even if you ever just heard of it.
Yeah, it's something that hopefully my story spoke to some of the benefits, but it helps harmonize the left and the right hemispheres of the brain. It helps bring our bodies into a state of that's optimal for self-healing and proper digestion in the body, and helps really hush the chronic stress, um, and those signals of fight, flight, freeze in the body. It activates the parasympathetic autonomic nervous system, which is a fancy way of basically saying that part of your nervous system that corresponds with healing, digestion,
restoration,
rest, recovery. Yeah. Versus the sympathetic, which is fancy for the fight, flight, freeze responses that we get when we're, oh my gosh, scared. Well, not necessarily fearful per se, but like a lot of stress is on your plate and how we tend to react. There are some basic principles of Kemetic yoga that make it Kemetic yoga. Like one of them is the energy circulation. So the process of drawing the breath and visualizing your energy circulating through your body up through the spine, all the way up into the brain, and then coursing through the rest of the body to the limbs and your hands and feet, and then continuing cycling through. There's also the component of breath control or breathing. The breath work aspect is follows a 4-part breath. So the 4 parts of the breath are in the inhalation, so inhaling through the nose. There's a pause where we savor, we observe, we notice the breath, we notice how we're feeling in our bodies. And then the exhalation, it often follows like a deepening into a pose, like almost like you're melting into it, releasing the tensions out from your body as you go deeper. Relevant to Scorpio season. And then the last part is the pause, once again, before you take your next inhalation, it's kind of like a circle, this breathing pattern. And then we also focus on geometric progression. So this is related to the body alignment. We go from the most simple to a little bit more complex, kind of like you go from a line to a bent line, almost like a triangle,
So multiple bent
to,
lines.
to more complicated structures, and then coming back to the simple again. It's supposed to uh, go from the most simple, which would be like laying down or just standing, to more complicated postures bit by bit, and then coming back to where you started. So, body alignment is one of the things that's super important because all of the poses are they're activating some of the reflexology points in your hands and feet. So, if you ever gotten acupuncture, or if you've ever heard of acupressure, it helps to open the energy pathways in the body. So um, yeah, that's pretty cool. Keeping the channels open so that your emotions can be processed. It doesn't get stuck in the body. It can be moved through, literally, and that's also in the process of helping ourselves heal.
And unblocking, pathways, loosening up the tension nodes within the body so that energy can move, so that your chi can move throughout your body. Um, and just a couple tips for beginners looking into this that come to my mind are: when you are doing a Kemetic yoga sequence, to put more emphasis on the fundamental principles that were just named, right? So um, the 4-part breath and breath control. So the inhalation, the pause, the exhalation, and the second pause. Taking that a little more seriously than matching exactly the form, although of course not ignoring form. You don't want to ignore form in any movement practice, because that could lead to injury. So we're not ignoring form, but we're just putting more of a priority on the basic principles that make Kemetic yoga a spiritual practice more so than a physical practice. Also, to how to put this?
Oh, good.
You go ahead. You have an idea?
Yeah, I like to always set an intention because one of the things when it comes to Kemetic yoga is it's really personal to you. It's your practice, right? And so when you set an intention as to what you'd like to gain from your time practicing, what you'd like to be, if that's presence, if that's wisdom, if that's clarity, if that whatever it is that would be supportive to you um, in this level of your journey, right? One other thing I would say is to align from the inside out, like really, really your build yourself up from the bottom up, right? So instead of focusing so much on, I have to make sure that in this, say, for example, a forward fold where you might be trying to touch your toes, right? It's not about touching your toes so much as it is about lengthening in the spine and just really releasing in the shoulders, releasing in the lower back, and going as far as you can without coming to a point of pain, but just and melting into that. Um, does that make sense?
Absolutely. I was actually trying to think of a way of saying to push yourself without straining yourself.
Yeah.
And so it's like that. If you have to touch your shins instead of touching your toes, if you have to
bend your knees in order
bend
to
your
bring
knees, yeah,
your chest to your thighs so that you can give that abdominal massage to your
then
body.
then do that and focus on alignment and breath the sequence as well as the breath control, and build yourself up to mastery in anything that you do, one step at a time.
Mhm.
Second part of today's episode, we want to talk about this lovely specimen here called culture control.
Culture control.
Okay.
Why the love of money is objectively the root of all evil.
Evil. Why you wake up right then? And I just want to say that this book's aim, okay, culture control, is not simply to tell you where you're wrong. It will do that. But it's not aimed at, just here's everything that, they told you that was a lie. Goodbye. It's more so aimed at here are different here's a different way to see the same world that you've always seen. So you don't have to throw away the world that you're used to. You can incorporate the knowledge from this book and into your mission to freeing your own mind from only seeing from behind the veil, right? To seeing beyond the veil. And a great way to do that is to try and foster community around this or books like this. What does that mean? It could be getting
Truth-seeking
together.
stuff.
It could be getting together and um, doing like a book club where you guys read a certain amount of the book independently, come back and discuss it. Or it could be, where you kind of read the whole book independently and get together and discuss it, something like that. It can be using certain parts of the book that inspire ideas to go ahead and implement those ideas with community members. It can be creating something inspired by the book or by a concept in the book, right? Creating something that you can then share with the masses, whether that is something in writing, something on like a video, or an invention of some kind that you come up with, right? Something that'll help you do something, a technology of sorts. There are a myriad of ways that coming to know why the love of money is objectively the root of all evil and becoming more in tune with your natural, real self and natural objective truth, as well as objective morality, uh, where you can build community from these concepts and from learning these things, even if you're learning them for the first time. Or I would also say, even if there's a lot of resistance to some of the things that are in here, because nobody that picks up culture control puts it down saying, I got nothing truthful from this book. It's just impossible. It's like if you actually read some of the holy texts, you might disagree with a whole lot in there, but you do not pick up a Bible, even the King James Version, and put it down from reading the thing from cover to cover and say there's nothing of truth in here.
Exactly.
It's impossible to do so because there's so much truth within it. And so there's a lot, and I'm not comparing my book to the Bible, but I'm just saying there's a lot of truth and practical knowledge that you can get from it.
I want to read something from it, if that's
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
So with books, oftentimes I like to open it up to a random page, which for this book, honestly, first time through, I would highly recommend reading everything, including the introduction, like from beginning to end, because it does build on itself. But I've already read this book like at least twice. So here's a little excerpt from chapter 8. It's called A Journey Through Utter Bullshit. Okay. And it starts off with a quote: without self-knowledge, Without understanding the workings and functions of his machine, man cannot be free. He cannot govern himself, and he will always remain a slave. And that's by G.I. Gurdjieff.
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 Hmm.
Thank you. I did not know how to pronounce that last name.
I think it's German.
Okay. So one of the things that just instantly reminds me of is even on this health journey, like a holistic health journey, and I keep coming across this again and again with different clients whenever we uncover and do a breakdown of every medication that they're taking and reading the package insert and seeing exactly what is going on, and why they're feeling how they're feeling now as opposed to maybe years back when they started, feeling symptoms of whatever condition that they're experiencing. um, there's this big, vast amount of confusion because no one has taken the time to break down something as simple as a package insert. And I feel like, and I know that with this, there's so much confusion of how the body actually works that how can you ever get to true healing? How can you get to the cause if you don't know why things are functioning in your body, how things are functioning in your body? You could easily be sold another medication, another thing that may or may not help. You won't know
It's
until um,
till you break it down and you look into the information that's available, gathering your grammar so you can process it and then take the correct action and take right action.
Yeah.
Once you've processed all of the available information, and it's the same. Well, it works like that for the medicinal industry, right? You go in for some medicine because
big pharma.
Your kidney is giving you problems.
Mhm.
They give you something that fixes your kidney and hurts your thyroid, or
Doesn't fix your kidney and also still hurts your thyroid. But it will give the illusion the pain will go away.
and that is kind of the model. You go in, they give you something that seems to fix the one thing, but it causes two other things to happen. And with with a book like this, you're looking at you're expanding your foundation in such a way that you can start to see how you go into society and you go get this job to try and fix your money problems, but it gives you spiritual problems. Or you go into society and you try to fix your spiritual problems and it gives you money problems or whatever, right? And it's sort of the same model of control across the board. And so a book like this, just like some of the work that we do when it comes to looking at what our medications are, what ingredients are in our food, how they make the oils that we are using to cook the food, stuff like that. This book serves as a catalyst of a different of expanding your foundation of how yourself, your mind, your associative mechanisms in your mind work so that you can see how you're being influenced. And if you look into some independent research, do some independent research, who is influencing you, how long that's been going on, and you can have more of a wider picture of at least what you don't know, to begin unlearning what you need to unlearn so that you can fill your cup with truth.
That is so important. Yeah. Yes. Affirm Life Daily in the comments has all of the target emojis. Like, thank you. That is right on point. Yeah, and the next page that I flipped to was actually talking about natural laws on page 111, which I think is pretty cool. Um, and it dives into the difference between the the sins and natural law transgressions. Um, so, uh, yeah, this is pretty it's a good base to even understand when you're talking about objective right or wrong, um, to know and be able to discern for yourself what truly is a wrong. And with that knowledge, kind of, you have more of um, a base that you can build wisdom upon, kind of like you're talking about with the foundation.
Yeah, and the difference between, let's say, the biblical seven deadly sins and transgressions against somebody or a group of people is that the transgressions are actions, whereas the seven deadly sins, pride, gluttony, sloth, lust, anger, jealousy, and greed, are emotional states or emotional frequencies
Yeah, it
that
says,
are experiences,
yeah.
right? But they're not necessarily actions. Like, for instance, or the one, two of them that are closest to actions are gluttony and sloth, right? Because you kind of have to act out gluttony for someone to know that you're being gluttonous. Versus something like lust or anger, you don't have to act it out for somebody to know.
I really like how you put it in the book too. You say,
Mhm.
as you can clearly see, one list is comprised of immoral acts that are transgressions against natural law, and the other list is a list of feelings and self indulgences which could be completely harmless and often are in most people. No one can commit one of the real seven deadly sins, and it is not,
And it
and
not
it
result
not
in harm.
result in harm.
So the real seven deadly sins, as defined by Mark Passio, are murder, assault, rape, theft, trespass, coercion, and deception, which are all actions, which are tangible things that you have to plan and do, versus pride, where you can work really hard to get really, really good at painting and then feel, experience internally pride in your ability to paint, or you raise your children in such a way that you've done a ton of internal work and external work to make sure that you as a parent are a great example for your children. Your child achieves something great and you feel immense pride for your offspring. That's not an action that is resulting in harm, and so there's no violation of anybody's rights or freedoms, and therefore it's not really a sin. Versus, obviously, if you feel so prideful that you harm somebody else, or you emotionally just torture somebody else with your words out of an inflated ego, then there you go. You don't want to be prideful like that, and then you definitely don't want to don't want it to lead you into other negative emotional experiences like anger, jealousy, greed, stuff like that, where you're going to take actions that are actual transgressions against people. But the internal experience and the opportunity to overcome those internal experiences and to grow from those internal experiences are not in and of themselves sin. And we get into that in the book. But again, what the book in general is, it's just a foundation expander for for creating a newfound love and care for the world that you were born into, and an understanding of yourself in said world.
Yes, I can dig it. Yeah, so you can get your copy of Culture Control. We have ebook format and paperback format right now. Audiobook coming in the future.
Yep, very soon.
So that's in the link in our bio. And if you're interested in learning more about what we do, as I'm a holistic healer, a holistic health coach, if you're struggling with an autoimmune condition, you're struggling to sustainably, in a healthy way, maintain a healthy weight, and you're a working mom, you're a freedom seeker, I would love to have a conversation with you if that's what um, is supportive to you at this stage in your journey, to come up with a little strategy that works. Um, you can find that information in the link in the bio. And you can catch all the rest of the episodes of this podcast through the same link in the bio. So, yeah. or if you're watching on YouTube, in the description.
All right. We'll see you guys on Monday.
Oh, announcements, an event coming up. Before we go, that we do have an event announcement for on the 19th of November. Coach Soul will be doing a workshop. It's a mindfulness workshop for creatives, for artists, for arts educators, and the like. And it's all about mindset. It's about going to be diving into a little bit of active meditation and really finding that spiritual anchor, the mind mental clarity, no matter what you're doing, whether in the workplace or outside, whether you're working on a project or you're just looking for a moment of clarity in between life things that you got to do. So that's coming up on the 19th.
Mhm.
The link to that, I believe, is in the bio as well.
Double checking on the fly.
Yes. So it is not. So it will be soon. It is on our website though. So if you go to the link in the bio and you tap on website, and then you scroll down to where, or you click on media, and it'll take you down to where the event announcements are. Yeah, media. So right here, the Mind Mastery Meditation of the Heart Mind Mastery workshop for busy creatives. And it's free. So if you're interested, the date and time, what's the time of the event, babe?
So it's November 19th, which is a Tuesday, and it's just at 10 a.m. at Mind Pop.
10 a.m. in Austin, Texas at Mind Pop, which is, what's the address?
It's at Mind Pop in Austin. That's all they need to know on social media.
Okay. Well, the details are on the website.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on. So.
And Mind Pop is not, it's not there's not a whole bunch of Mind Pops. There's only one.
Is it, okay.
MINDPOP.
One word. Right on. So take good care. That's all that we got for today. We will not be here tomorrow. So this is the Move and Shine together. And we'll see you on Monday, loves. Peace.